Fabrizio Leggeri, Executive Director of Frontex from 2015 to 2022, and now a member of the European Parliament for France's National Rally Party, sharply criticised the European Commission's stance on migration and his own agency at the time. He exposed the approach of former Commissioner for Home Affairs, Ylva Johansson.
She told me, the Commissioner told me, that migrants, I'm quoting, come for love, and whether I like it or not, I should welcome migrants, because Europe is an aging continent and we need migrants. And I totally disagreed with that, and I wanted to protect European borders, European nations, European identity.
As the former head of Frontex, Leggeri fought against NGOs at the borders. He advised Poland against accepting his organization's help precisely because he foresaw increased NGO activity.
When I deployed Frontex to Lithuania to protect the Lithuanian border against Belarus and all the migrants coming from Belarus, the fundamental rights monitors advised me to pay buses to transport all migrants from Belarus to Lithuania, and they added, if there is not space enough in Lithuania, you should send all the migrants to Poland. So that's why I advised, at that time, peace government in Warsaw. I said, my advice, do not request Frontex support, because if you have Frontex support, then you have the fundamental rights monitors, and you will have all the NGOs at the borders, and you will not be able to do your job.
Under his leadership, Frontex did not agree with the left-wing belief that Europe should warmly welcome and accept every newcomer. This was, in fact, the official policy of the European Union for years. Let me be clear, Germany is a strong country, and our guiding principle on migration is, we can do it. We can do everything to overcome the obstacles. Germany and France, as we know, opened their borders wide to migrants. They warmly invited them in. They have made their social infrastructure available to them and ordered their people to accept and welcome them. Today, they see things differently. The problems are caused by those who do not have permanent residence, do not work, and do not obey our laws. And this was also the subject of today's discussion. That is why so many people in Germany and other European countries, not only in Germany, are now simply afraid to leave their homes. Germans are redirecting the problem to Poland. Illegal mass migration primarily means an increase in crime. It also poses a threat of increased social spending and job losses. People are increasingly expressing their opposition to the political correctness imposed by Western governments on the streets. The UK wants to close hotels for asylum seekers. The Irish are also protesting.
Processing the claims much more quickly, and where people have got no right to be in our country, we're removing them at a higher rate than best part of a decade.
That is why those in power in Poland today also say that they are focusing on security. They boast to European commissioners about their tight border protection. However, when the migration crisis erupted in Poland in 2021, they strongly opposed the construction of a barrier on the border. These are poor people who are looking for their place in the world, and there is no need to engage in such disgusting, bleak propaganda aimed at migrants, because these are people who need help. It would be worth considering whether this anti-European and radically xenophobic rhetoric, which we hear very often from Poland's leaders, will not harm us in a very tangible way. Donald Tusk feared the EU's reaction for good reason.
These walls are absolutely necessary, and of course, after the Cold War, there was a global thinking all over Europe or Western world that there will be no need of walls, no need of borders, and no need of armies.
But borders are necessary. The crisis on the Polish-Belarusian border is currently an example of effective defense against illegal migration in Europe. The barrier changed the situation at the border, enabling effective intervention by the Polish services, which still use this barrier and the perimeter elements that are in place there to effectively prevent illegal migrants who are currently being pushed into Poland by Lukashenko. And I remember the huge outcry against the Law and Justice government, that it was behaving inhumanely, that it was killing migrants, that it was creating mass graves in the Białowieża forest. All these narratives were pushed by people who are in power today. What exactly has changed? Time has shown that the decisions of the EU elites were wrong and that the right were correct on the issue of migration. The change of stance by the European Union regarding the Polish-Belarusian border is linked to a change in approach to this issue, but in my opinion, it is purely a PR move by Donald Tusk. It is worth learning from mistakes, but first and foremost, the government would have to admit to them, without lying that reality was different, and without presenting themselves as defenders of the borders, contrary to the fact, when they advocated breaking the law on the Polish border.